YouTube. I'm recording another episode of Kerbal Space Program. I messed around with the settings a little bit, so I could get the noise from the actual game to work, because you probably noticed that it wasn't there. But I don't want to leave you waiting and take up half the video with talking, so I'll start the video now. Oops. I'm gonna go to my research and development. Engineering 101. Then we're going to get survivability. E. I wonder how many hours were put into the development of Kerbal Space Program. Probably I don't know, maybe a couple months of coding if you put it all together. I haven't made any game like this before, so I'm just kind of assuming here. Since we don't have survivability, I'm not going to be able to put something as heavy as a Science Junior Materials Bay on. Once I get the survivability, then I'm going to be able to put it on. Forgot my... Put some wings on this thing. Those are too big. This should be good. I don't want this thing spinning so fast it goes out of control. So we're going to just take a little tiny bit. So I'm going to click on it. And I'm going to use my shift key, which will shrink the increment. And then I can rotate a little click there. And then that will channel the air into a corkscrew shape, and that will kind of make a coil to keep the rocket in place, kind of like it's a sonic screwdriver or something for keeping it in place. Let's launch. Normally Bandicam is pretty laggy, but since Kerbal Space Program is 1,000 megabytes, well, actually it's a gigabyte of RAM for Kerbal Space Program. It's actually pretty decent with handling the lag here. You heard me, it's a gigabyte. Because I saw one time in my, you know what, I'll talk about it when I'm going to space. So, and once I was in Task Manager, I noticed that Kerbal Space Program took up 1 million kilobytes of RAM, and 1 million kilobytes is 1,000 megabytes, and 1,000 megabytes is a gigabyte. was roughly 1 million. Sometimes it dipped below it and above it. I'm gonna save my mystery goo for the upper atmosphere and in space. I'm going to do my crew report in space because I haven't gotten one there yet. Since it's just going up, I'm going to speed it up. Hopefully I don't blow up from overheating. Good, I didn't. Now we're in the upper atmosphere. The goo will be cold. And we'll get some pretty decent amount of science. The goo seems to be getting very cold now. I haven't gotten a crew report from space yet, but in my first mission, I think it was, or maybe it was my second one, got one from the upper atmosphere, but I'll get one from space this time. Hopefully this is high enough to be considered space. Probably not. Still no. Well, he won't slow down as quickly because there's a lot less air here to slow him down. I'll capsule down because it's not just Jeb flying, that would be silly. Oh. It's as high as we're gonna get. I wish it didn't give that. For those of you who just started Kerbal space program, this is not the real world, and this is not Africa. Looks a lot like it though. And this is, this looks like Hawaii and Madagascar because it has the largest island on the right, like Hawaii. Well, actually, Hawaii is only one island. Part of the island chain called Hawaii. I'm starting to hear some noise. It's gonna turn into re-entry noises now. I can see some aero forces building up. Mystery goose probably going to explode. I'm pray. Wow. We didn't fully leave the atmosphere, so that makes sense. Hopefully my parachute doesn't get torn apart by aero forces. I won't want that because we need some jab. You know what? I don't want to kill Jeb. Hiring a new Kerbal is too expensive. Can't do that. cut off, so I'm gonna go back to the game. I was mentioning how, like, when he says he can see his house from here, well, in like one of those mods that adds like cities to Kerbal Space Program, like there's one right here, so maybe that's why they put it there. Well, at least it looked like a city structure from Google Earth. Explosion noise tickled my ear because I have a headset. Let's recover this. Should have gotten an EVA report. Upper atmosphere, not space. I don't want that contract to go bad, and then I'm gonna lose money. In flight. But I did. I used it in the air. I'm gonna exit the atmosphere. Now there's a very simple rocket you can build for that. And it requires 4 parts. So to build it, you get a command pod, parachute, decoupler, and our hammer solid rocket booster. This is the cheapest way I know of that you can without any cheaty things to get into space. Now, that doesn't mean in orbit though, so don't try getting to orbit with it, it won't work. So, notch it. Alright, so I don't have to deal with like smashing videos together, going to Reddit or Bandicam. Atmosphere and still got 1,000 meters per second, and I'm getting that thing that says orbit even though I'm not. I believe I'm gonna make it to space. Told you it gets you to space in only 4 parts, and it's very low cost and mass. Skip the atmosphere. So I'm gonna deploy it at 3,500 meters. Hopefully this capsule doesn't explode due to re-entry. I'm going to do a quick crew report here. Kerbal looks happy looking at the stars. There's Kerbal. Black hole. You know, it does look like it's a black hole. Continents are analogs to the ones in real life. So Spain is here, sticking out of what's probably Europe, and this is Africa. And on the night side somewhere, around back here, there's like a tiny version of what looks like North and South America. This isn't an analog to anything since there isn't like that thing there. It is somewhat comparable to our own world in terms of continents. One problem, it's 10 times the freaking density. That's why the Kerbal feels just weird. And why didn't they add clouds in vanilla? That's why it always felt strange. And I noticed that was because Kerbal didn't have any freaking clouds. Why am I still in space? Oh god, that looks scary. Imagine if he did a free fall. Jib, don't do that. Guns don't kill people, bullets do, see. This is the most dramatic part. I'm going to survive re-entry. Halfway through. All that heat you see will turn into arrow forces. I really should have thought this through by doing something else. That's a lot of arrow force. It's deployed at 5,000 meters. Oh, come on. I'm gonna have to abort until I get this right. Drib is too special. I didn't think this through. Let's go back in time and do it. Really, I should have waited for this arrow. It cut off again. Let's get back into the video. So I did revert. Forgot to think it through. let's not bring it too high. And we're going, let's just use this as, no, it doesn't look like it's gonna actually fit on there. We're gonna need a decoupler. I'm going to have to create the makeshift parachute again. I'm only going to need 2. And click in further. We're going to need SAS for this, and I'm not going to spin stabilize it. It's just going to mess up the SAS's work. This looks like it'll work. Looks like it'll work. Yes. W and D keys are probably gonna be broken after this launch is done. Good. Got almost 18 science. Let's wait for something better to come up. Oh, come on. Well, I guess we'll continue this in the next episode. Goodbye.